Welcome to the GRG podcast, the place for all your gaming news, plus hot topics of the week. Also remember to follow us on Twitter at KMEGA4.
What's happening, everybody? The GRG podcast is live. What's happening? Let's get to it. Mitchie, we batting 1,000. We running. We live, but we still got to wait for that 16 minutes. I got to stop doing that. I got to be patient. After the 16 minutes, then I can brag.
Don't be putting that on me.
You know what? You're right. I shouldn't be putting it on you, but I still do. That's just me. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, man, hit that like button. Share this out. We are live, and yes, the panel looks crazy because we have so many different people in here tonight, and that's great because I mean we got tons of guests, we got returning guests. It's a guest-a-thon, and so first and foremost, we might as well go to the very first person that I talked to about coming on to the show. Man, we was having a conversation, and man, that's a guy from overseas, way over there overseas, man, and from Australia, I believe, right?
That is correct. Hey, what's up, everyone? I appreciate the invite, KMEGA. We just had a chat, early in this week, and you said, hey, man, why don't you come on? I said, I'd love to. Let's do it. So here I am.
No doubt. Ashtray Gaming. I had to say I was going to say his name, but then I kind of was like, hey, it was Australia. Yeah, but what's going on, man? Tell people a little bit about yourself, man. I mean, we know that you was doing the YouTube scene, and then you kind of dropped out. Now you're coming back. So let everybody know about your channel and what you got going on, man.
Yeah, look, I thought I'd sort of start from scratch and put out a new video, revamp the whole channel, new graphics and things like that. It's been a while, so I'm a bit rusty at all of this. Even podcasts I haven't done. This is my first podcast in I think about 2 years, so I'm sort of a bit rusty. But once I get into the groove of things, everything will improve and get better. So I'll probably drop my first video Thursday next week, which will probably be like Wednesday for you guys, Wednesday night. So hopefully I don't get too much hate for it, but we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna, I don't know what the quality is going to be like, but I'm sure the feedback will be good, and then we'll go from there. So I'm looking to drop a video, just one a week to start with, and just do it to see how we go. That's really about it.
No doubt.
Just a little bit of background on me. I started gaming in the late 80s.
Mhm.
I'm a Sega boy by heart, so that'll always hold a special place for me. And I own about, I think at last count was 18 consoles, including the original Segas. So yeah, I've sort of kept my history alive with that. So yeah, that's about it from me.
So you still have all of your consoles right now with you, or is just that's how many that you've owned? Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That is amazing. Yeah, I wish I kept all my consoles, man. I'll probably be selling one of them right now, getting some of that loot. But yeah, that is amazing. That is really cool. All right. Did you have anything else you want to add before I moved on?
Yeah, look, I just want to do a quick shout out to the blue one. He's a fraud. We always chat on Xbox Live every night, and he's always watching this show. So I just want to shout out the blue one.
All right, no doubt, man. Big shout out to the blue. All right, man, we're going to move on. So somebody that I just hit up, I was watching and I was listening to him. It's somebody that I paid attention to here for a little while, but I seen him for the first time on Boom's podcast this morning. And I was like, yo, I said, man, wait a minute. I know he did some podcasting, but I'm like, well, yo, I said, so man, I had to hit him up and I wanted to see it. I was going to schedule for later on. And he was like, hey, man, I'm down right now. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So K Asante, man, what's happening with you? What's going on, man? Let everybody know about you and what you do, all the podcasting work and everything that you do in the gaming streets, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invite. It was actually unexpected and a pleasant surprise. I see you in the community, and I appreciate all the stuff you do. So when you threw up the bat signal, I had nothing to say, but yes, immediately, of course.
No
so
doubt.
yes, what I do. So I'm a community member, man. For a long time, I've just been, I do the tech stuff. I'm a bit of a geek, a bit of a nerd and all that. So, well, and of course I'm a gamer, as we all are. So for a long time, I was just a community member. I'm in the chat, I'm super chatting, I'm hanging out, I'm talking to people. And one thing led to another. And at some point, I connected with the Everborn saga and the Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick himself. And he invited me on the show, then invited me to be a panelist. And me and Everborn connected, and now we do podcasts ourselves.
On Thursday nights, right?
Yeah, we have two podcasts. We do Thursday nights. We do the movie and TV show on Everborn's channel called On the Real. We always keep it interesting, keep it a little slanderous, because this is how we do. And then on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on my channel, we usually do the Gaming Circle podcast, where there are a lot of podcasts around. We try to pick some evergreen topics. We get a little heavy sometimes. We always try to keep it fun. So it's just fun talking to the community, and you jump in there and people recognize you and they say what's up, and you say hi back. It's just I enjoy doing this, and it's just so much fun. I get off of work to then come here and then have some fun. It's become that thing for me. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, no doubt. And big shout out to Everborn. He came up on Devin the Gamer with me and Don. I've definitely hit him with the bad signal, but he was talking about his Fridays is a little strenuous for him because of the work that he does and things like that. So big shout out to him. But he's also asked me to come on to his, but then I'm doing the next podcast when you guys are doing y'all's podcast. This is kind of like what's going on, man. Like everybody's got a podcast and everybody's got something going on. And so you just get around it. But man, yeah, I definitely, when I get a chance.
It's wonderful to connect. It's wonderful to connect with you guys. It's really cool. Yeah.
It is. It just kind of just shows that the community isn't all about trying to be about themselves. It's more than just, if we're a community, then we should act like a community. it's a wonderful thing, man. So yeah, I'm really glad that you came on, man. I hope definitely this won't be the last time for sure. And then hopefully, like I said, I hope I can jump on with you and Everborn sometime on Thursday for
I've
sure,
been looking
because I
forward
want
to that. This is great. Yeah.
yeah, no doubt. I definitely want to jump in on some of that stuff, because he wanted to talk about man, it was about a Marvel character or whatever, and I totally disagreed with him. He was like, "Oh, no, come on in here," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm doing the
That's the
podcast.
best. That's the best conversation. He looks for disagreement. Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
Yeah,
if you like Batman, you may want to cover your ears whenever we podcast, because he's got issues.
All right, man. Thank you so much. All right, and then we move on down. We got Mitchie. Dodge a lot, man. Back. What's going on with you? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Haven't gamed much, been working a lot, lots of overtime, so the Xbox has not really seen me much.
Man, I know how that is, man. It's just when work calls, you got to take care of it, man. It's an expensive hobby as it is, so
Yes.
you gotta try to make that money to keep it going. So definitely know about that. So all right, but man, everything else has been going fine for you. I want to feel bad for your Packers, but deep down in my heart, I just can't. So
Okay, I felt bad for my Packers. It was enough.
All right, good deal. All right,
okay.
Oh, look at her. She's like, "Don't you do that? All right, so let's go on down, and then my main man, PK Live. What's happening with you, PK? What's going on, man?
What's happening? Yeah, last week, man, it was a rough week, man. I mean, this week too, but hey, I'm taking vacation, man. But hey, I still gonna get my gaming in, man. I'm gonna tell you, I bounce between everything. I'm what I'm at 18,000 achievements for the month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's just on Xbox.
Yeah, you was.
That's just on Xbox. Yeah, man, I still get my gaming in. Hey, we've been getting fed pretty good on Game Pass, so it's been making my day. And definitely got some good PC games as well, man. Good PC games. Still hop on my Switch for Pokemon Unite. Still do my thing. And next week I'm definitely going hard. But I'm back. I'm here. I'm hanging out. Got a lot of new faces. Can't wait to have some good conversations. So let's get it.
Let's get it. No doubt, man. And I'm glad you needed a little break. Take the time. Everybody needs it. And you know what I'm saying? You've been running around rampant, man. I mean, you've been doing shows, you're doing that, but you still got time for the gaming, man. That's amazing. That's amazing, no doubt about it. All right, so last but not least, man. Hey, I did not tell this dude to come back and just be coming here being slanderous. I guess he just feels that comfortable, man. But hey, Real Gamer is back from last week, man. I guess he just couldn't have enough of a damn long-ass 3.5-hour podcast, so he said he wanted to come back. But I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, we will not have a podcast that long tonight. So what's happening with you, Real Gamer? What's going on with you, brother?
Hi, what's going on with you, man? Happy to be back. Appreciate the invite. I guess as far as me, I didn't really game this much this week because I've been working a lot, and not only that, I got my side hustle, so I've just been grinding all week, and I played a little bit of Deathloop. I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying it. So far, I hadn't got far in the game, but I've been just chilling, spending time with the family, watching some TV shows with my wife, and I'm caught up on a lot of gaming news and all that, but as far as my game, I really hadn't gamed much this week. So like I say, appreciate the invite.
No doubt, man. I'm glad you guys came through, man. I mean, this is absolutely a GRG first. We have not had a show ever in its history for its 4-year stance of where we've had more guests than panelists. That's amazing. And I appreciate you guys coming on, man, because I was like, you know what I'm saying? We'll be good. We'll be about 4 people, but then you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I love it. I do love it. Anyway, all right, so let's get to the very first topic. And like I said, we'll go ahead and we'll skip the optional one, because I mean that could be going for later, and I don't know how long we'll be talking about everything else. So I believe, since I'm trying to look for my list and it's not popping up for me, so I'll just go ahead and I think what it was. Because I know like people like Boom, he got a script. I know when I went on Boom's show, that was about 2 years ago. And then so he was like, all right, so this is what it is. And it was scripted. Like, what the hell? The brother's detailed, man. I don't know if he goes as far into his script like he used to, but man, he used to have a big script.
He writes novels, man. He writes novels for sure.
Bro, yeah. When he said that, I'm like, what
He's thorough.
in the hell? He is
very thorough, that man.
Very thorough. Yeah,
yes,
man.
Indeed.
So give it to him. But anyway, all right. So basically, what we're going to talk about right now on the first topic is about delays. We just found out about Battlefield 2022, 42. I don't know why I say 22, 2042. And then we also heard about Halo not too long ago having the situations with them and then it being pushed back into December. Then we had Dying Light 2 that had to announce that it was being delayed. So I'm going to go to you first, Ashtray. So is this a situation now? Because every time that we've been looking at these delays, and this has been going on for the last couple of years, we hear about the situation with the pandemic and we know that is part of it. But my other question is, do you think that it's just a cop out? Because I see a lot of people in the gaming streets, and they're just coming out and just saying, look, I think these are excuses. These people just aren't making they're rushing these games out too quick, and they want to use the COVID situation as an excuse. Do you think that this is an excuse, or do you think that, the pandemic actually put a lot of stress on these developers to try to get these games out here on time? I mean, just look at what happened with Cyberpunk 2077. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. COVID definitely has its place. It's caused these issues. It's caused these delays. We've been hearing for a while now, at least a minimum of 6-month delays. Now, that's on top of delays that have always been happening. So delays aren't new to the industry. Mm-hmm. By any means. It's been happening for many, 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 many years now. Ubisoft and Rockstar are probably two of the worst for delays. Definitely Rockstar, that's for sure. They even delay a third version of GTA 5, for Christ's sake. I mean, what do they need to do to that to delay it? But anyway, so COVID definitely has caused issues. I mean, trying to work from home remotely, not having that contact that they normally have in an office format does slow things down dramatically. But it's starting to get used as a bit of a crutch now. And I think in many ways, people are just using it as a cop-out statement because it's just easy to say. Now, in my opinion, a lot of these companies only put out dates. We're going to, launch it on such and such a date to appease their shareholders. And they have no intention I reckon in most of those cases, have no intention to meet those dates. But they say it anyway. And then it creates hype and the shareholders are happy. And then all of a sudden there's a delay. And I just think that the industry needs to set realistic timeframes. And I understand that the longer you delay a game or the longer a game takes to be made, it costs more money. But that should all be factored into the cost of making the game. So set realistic targets, set realistic goals, and try and put out a game with a launch date that's feasible, that's legitimate, that's, reachable, and actually, try instead of just putting out dates to appease their sharedholders, etc. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to agree with that because every time that they give out these dates, what's going on with your C-Mac? The one thing that we find out that, I mean, aren't the shareholders are going to be upset? I don't know, because they always have to push these games back for whatever reason. And I don't know, I find it wild. But what about you, Asante? Do you think that, do you agree with Ashtray, or do you have a different thought process about this?
No, I by and large, I pretty much agree with what Astray's saying. It is COVID is definitely a factor in the equation. It's we definitely knew that, but he's absolutely right when he says that even before COVID there were delays, right? Remember the good old days when we were talking about broken games, where games would always come out broken. This was like what, 2016, 2017. That was becoming the narrative, right? Broken games. What's going on, right? And then the pandemic added to that, and now it became broken games that can't be fixed because nobody can come into an office, right? So that is very much a factor in the equation, 100%. But mismanagement is also a factor. But, setting unrealistic expectations is also a factor. Very poignant example in the case of Cyberpunk 2077, right? It is a factor in the equation, right? At this point, I still think they get a little bit of purchase with the whole COVID is a problem thing. Yes, folks can still be okay with that. But as Asher is saying, and I agree with that as well, as we're heading into next year and the years after, as we're slowly heading past that point of, COVID is here, shaking the world loose, it's becoming the new normal at this point. Folks will not be able to use that as an excuse as much anymore, and I say that I call it as an excuse very carefully, because I know that there are people who've had serious issues, and there are people where this thing is still ravishing them. So to call it an excuse completely is unfair, but it is very true. Like in the case of things like let's say you were mentioning Halo, for instance. I don't think COVID is the only factor in the equation there. Right, there's something else. I've been speaking with Everborn and the rest of the crew on Double Barrel about it a few times. I think that unless this game comes out and it's an absolute mind blowing thing, which increasingly that's very rare in this space, there will be a post-mortem where I suspect some heads will roll, and rightly so, because there's been some mismanagement there. COVID has been used to clean it up. But in the back rooms, I suspect others know different. That's my opinion.
Okay, all right. No, that's a great point. All right, let me go down to you, Minchie. Do you agree with both of these fellas, or do you have a different take on this?
I think that sometimes they name specific dates that they want it to come out, and maybe they just okay, say Halo said holiday. Well, holiday can range anywhere from October to November.
Mm-hmm.
Or October to December. And maybe they should just go for seasons essentially, and not for specific dates until they're really sure.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just.
Oh, what happened? Still there?
Yeah, I think we lost you.
Yeah, we lost you, Minchie.
Okay. You got her talking about something controversial. They done snatched her off.
Hey man, why they gonna have to snatch the only lady on the podcast tonight? What they just oh man. Okay, so we'll wait till she get back. What about you, PK? What is your thoughts, man?
Listen, I got two parts to this. All right. Mm-hmm. First of all, when you do any project, no matter if it's gaming, no matter if it's planning, no matter if it's marketing, no matter what part of the project you play, it's always complex. And the bigger the project, the more complexity it is. Do I think pandemic has a factor? Maybe sometimes. Sometimes no. Because now we're in a situation where we adapted to working remote. I know for a fact that Microsoft is 100% remote forever until further notice. So what I'm getting at is they still getting work done. What I'm getting at is I'm in this industry. I partner with these people, and I see what happens is you gotta adapt. How is there roadblocks? Is there situations where there could be hindrance? Of course, that's what happens with every project. The difference is the messaging that comes from marketing is pushed down from a different team, not the developers, not the people that's on, what you call boots on the ground. It's the people that are deemed to make these announcements. And, usually that is facilitated by a whole different branch. Right hand doesn't know what left hand is doing. It's two different things going on here. So to blame developers for not to have to push things back because it's not ready, things like that. Hey, man, the thing is you have to be considerate. These people are doing a job. Gaming is a hobby at the end of the day. And as I transition to my other point, if gaming is a hobby, why the F are you sitting there worrying about what somebody else doing for their job? There is so many games out here to be playing, to be worrying about one game being pushed back. I understand you might be excited. Let's be real. Let's go back. Smash Bros. Released in December. It was pushed back to December, and yet it sold more than any other fighting game that last generation. Right?
Yeah.
So, does it really matter if the game gets pushed back as long as they're taking their time? Or do you want it to be like the Avengers, where they put it out and it wasn't ready for release, and it took them a whole year to get it at least playable? There's no reason to bitch and complain because you got too much to do. You got too many other games to play to worry about one. If you
Facts.
only worried about one, then what are you doing here? There's no reason for you to even buy a console right now if you're waiting on one game. There's so much gaming out here. There's not enough time
Not
for
enough
everybody to put it. Let me tell
Preach.
you,
Preach.
it's a good problem to have, but it's a waste of time and a conversation to sit here and bitch and complain about a game not making. Listen, I just said this yesterday. You know, everybody. I don't know if anybody's interested in the Steam Deck. Right? I don't know who's getting it. I'm getting it, but everybody might not get it. And you know, there's information out there that they release dev kits for the Steam Deck, which is interesting because that means that they are serious about this platform to have developers make games specifically for this hardware. Typically, that's unnecessary because it's Steam, it's a PC, but they're taking it in a different direction. With that being said, I'm using it as an example. The interest is there. How many pre-orders is? It was so many pre-orders. They had to push back another subset of people to another date and another quarter and another quarter. Why is that? Think about this. Does Steam Deck have an exclusive launch title? No, it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't have a launch title. It don't even have exclusive games. But the console will sell. This proves the point of what I'm talking about. These consoles don't need a launch title. They technically don't need an exclusive game to sell a system. It will sell itself because there's enough games available to play. Right? There's enough to go around, enough to interest everyone. And my point is, if you got enough on your plate, I don't care if it's Game Pass, I don't care if you're on PC, Steam, Epic, GRG, whatever it is, I don't care if you do Humble Bundle. The point I'm making is there's enough to go around to keep yourself, as consumers, we should be excited for the content we have in front of us instead of overlooking that to complain and nitpick about other things that we don't have in front of us. If you want, all I'm saying is don't be that dude that want to push and say, yeah, I got to have Avengers day one. You buy it, play it one day, you're done. Because it didn't meet it didn't meet your expectations. You know why? Because they stuck to the date, not because that's what the developers wanted. It's because that's what the marketing team and the not just the shareholders, but the people on top that's giving the orders that said meet this date. Right? That's right. The idea. So why even be in that realm? Why waste that energy? Why be in the Twitter space or the Facebook or the social media worrying about somebody else's job when you could be gaming? You could be enjoying your life. All I'm saying is, for us as gamers and consumers, man, just drop that mess. If anything, show support for the people that's got their jobs, who's still trying to make it for you, who's trying to make it the best game that they can for you. And that applies to anything. I don't care if Halo gets pushed back. I know that will be disappointing, just like some features that they said won't be available at launch will be disappointing, but don't take away the sight that they had to build a new engine from scratch, learn it from scratch, and build this new game around this new title from scratch. You got to give these guys some time. I don't know everything that goes under the hood, but I do know projects are complex, especially when you have multiple teams involved in this project. So when you think about it business ways, and I'm going to leave it at that, when you look at it as a business, I know not everyone does project work, but I'm telling you now, project work it does have a budget, it does have a timeline, milestones, etc. However, there's also roadblocks, things that you cannot do nothing about. Maybe there's a data center that got hit by an environmental issue. Now you got to start over because some of your backups didn't take or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of ransomware out there. Hell, Capcom got hit. NVIDIA just had a leak. There's all kinds of cyber hits out there. You guys don't think that impacts business? That does, 100%. And with that being said, they can't just release a game. It's not just a game. It's not like you selling CDs at the back of your trunk like back in the 90s, dude. They have to go through process, procedures, policies. They got to get it, make sure that it meets all kinds of certification before it can get published. There's so much layers to it. It makes no sense to worry for us, and I'm speaking as us as a gaming community, to worry so much about a game when they have this fall, I think, has given us more content this year, this fall, 2021, even in the pandemic, gave us more stuff to do than any year I've seen in the last 5 years.
I would even go further than that because it's been a minute. I haven't seen this much. It's been a very long time to have a summer like we had. I don't know. Do anybody disagree? Because I think that this has been a crazy summer of just content. I mean, you just go down the board from PlayStation, Xbox to PC to mobile. I think this has been a fantastic summer. One of the greatest ones out there in a long time. I don't know.
Yeah, folks don't tend to really look at it that way right now because they're in it. But you see those lists on Twitter most times, and they remind you of, hey, remember when 2018? Remember when this and this and this and that came out? I suspect that 2021 will be on a list once we pass it. But because we're in it right now, folks don't see all the plethora of choices that we've been given this year.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Listen. I'm going to bring this up too, and I'm sorry cutting you out there, KMEGA.
Oh, no, please.
I've been waiting for 2 years for both Tales of Arise and Christ Tales. They were supposed to release it last year, but because of the pandemic, things got pushed back. But guess what? Both games are phenomenal, and it was a good thing it got pushed back because now, for the first time ever, one game, Tales of Arise, the first Tales game to launch simultaneous across all platforms, day and date, and now it's the most successful Tales of all time. Christ Tales. I interviewed the dev. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. I interviewed the dev, the owner of the company, and he said Game Pass and being a part of that was able to put he'd been developing games for a while, but this is his first successful game. And because he was patient and took his time and had his team take his time, and you can hear it from his lips, this is the most successful game. And even if you're not into that, it doesn't matter, because the fact remains that there is a game out there for somebody. And there's so many, it is hard for anybody to sit here and complain when there's too much out there to be playing. And I'm sorry, go ahead, guys.
No, you fine. I was like, let you rant. You don't get too many rants. So I was gonna let you get it. Let you get it. All right, Mitchie, I'll let you go last after I go in here and hear what Real Gamer has to say. Now, do you agree with what everybody's been saying? Because it seems like everybody's on board about like, look, COVID is the pandemic has caused issues, but there might be more involved into it. But I mean, also, do you also want to piggyback off what PK said about, look, there's just so much content out there. People shouldn't really be that concerned in the first place. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna just piggyback off of everybody. There's a saying from how you say his name? Miyamoto. How you say his name from Nintendo?
PK,
Miyamoto.
Yeah. He said a delayed game is eventually good. A bad game is forever bad. So I understand exactly what he's saying, because you gotta, if you want to have that consistent fan base to be diehard day one and your games sell like hotcakes, if you take the Nintendo approach, like, you could hate Nintendo all you want. You could hate their consoles because their consoles always underpowered. But one thing you cannot hate on is the fact they make high quality games. That's why a lot of their games sell so much, because they would rather delay their games than rush their games, and that's why they always get really good reviews, because their game, you rarely see any bugs in Nintendo games. That's one thing I can say about them. That's been very well respected about Nintendo. But yeah, like y'all said, it's a lot of content came out this summer. We got the Ratchet and Clank. Of course, you got like Death's Door. That's one of my favorites. Of course, you got Psychonauts and all that, and of course, it's just a bunch of games that's out. Deathloop that just recently came out, and the holiday was already stacked. Even after the delays of some of these games, it is still stacked. But. I understand. Like what old dude said a while ago. Tales of Arise is the most successful launch they ever had, because they delayed the game, and I believe this is their highest reviewed game as well. So when you spend a lot more time polishing the game, it's a good chance the game is going to review well, because there's going to be less bugs into the game. And like I was saying a while ago, like, a lot of these games get rushed because these shareholders, they want some results, and unfortunately, a lot of these companies, they bend over backwards for these shareholders, because they want to see these games get rushed. And we saw how the whole Cyberpunk situation turned out. We don't want that. So yes, maybe the COVID thing has a little bit something to do with it, but at the same time, we already had delays before this COVID thing, came about. And another thing, kind of like what Sean Layton said, kind of one of the reasons why he left the industry. He said these games, it's like they spending over $100 million. I believe they say they were spending $100 million for these games to be developed on the PS4, and now it's going to double. And I guess he did not want to be a part of that, so that's probably why he stepped down, because it's just too much headache. So as these games get more expensive, these shareholders gonna be on their asses to release these games at a certain time, even though
want to get their money.
Dates are very unrealistic. Yes, it's all about the money, but at the same time, if the game is rushed, there's a good chance a lot of these customers is not going to come back. It's because they feel like they got ripped off. It's just so much you can do to these people. If you keep on nickel and diming them, like look at EA's situation with Madden. Pretty soon, people is going to be fed up and be like, you know what, I'm done. I'm never buying a Madden game again, because each year the review scores is dropping. Worse. I think this year's Madden is the worst ever, because they don't want to do nothing different to the game. Just update the roster and all that. People is getting fed up. Look at Rockstar. Pretty soon people can stop buying their games because they want some new content. It's BS. It is BS.
I don't know about, because that's the gift that keeps on giving. I know people are fed up. No. Hey, man, but that's GTA 5.
Don't get me wrong. No, their stuff will sell, but will sell at their expectations.
I would comment on that. I would just say that sometimes, especially with yearly releases such as Madden, 2K, whatever, if they don't have competition, that's why it won't.
That's true.
Okay, they gotta have somebody fighting for their money. That's the only way that it will push them to change. So until that happens, that's why it's the way it is. Not because of anything else. It's because they don't have a reason to. Okay, they don't have. What's the point? I made this point
That's
about
true.
Pokemon Sword and Shield. Okay, the reason why Game Freak sucks at being a developer over one of the largest, if not the largest, video game franchise ever, and this is in the Guinness Book of World Record, and you got the worst developer behind it, and they can't make Pokemon look like that one game Devo by the Korean developers. Like, this is the Switch and it still look like a 3DS. You know why they're not doing it? Because they don't have to. They don't have a competitor. And until their pockets get hit, they're not going to change. And that's just what it is.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. You know, like I was saying, man, I agree with everybody. Everybody makes some really strong.
You have every right to feel how you want to feel. Exactly. I think I agree with how you feel. I'm just saying, you know, I'm agreeing with you, but I'm just tacking on, you know, the yearly releases or the releases like that. They just need somebody to step up and say,
yeah, compete.
I'm going to have to combat that, but we also got it. But I'm going to let Real Gamer finish, and we got to have Minchie finish her point. But
okay. Well, I don't really have much left to say because a lot of y'all done already said it. Like I say, man, you know, like we have a lot to play, and you know, like I don't like when people rush these developers to, you know, get these games out. 'Cause remember when they threatened with the they threatened some people at Cyberpunk because they kept delaying the games or something. Like we got these rabid fanboys out here, whatever. But at the end of the day, man, if you want a high quality product, man, just got to be patient because these games are getting more expensive. The games are not cheap. Sony went up to $70 for their exclusives. And some of these third-party games, I believe that new Battlefield game is going to be $70. So these games are being more expensive, and I'm pretty sure people do not want to, you know, spend $70 for a game that is broken on day one. So yes, I would rather have a delayed game than a rush game, and I'm freaking pissed off. So that's all I got on that.
All right. Okay. All right. Mitchie, you wanted to finish your point?
Sure. If Discord doesn't disconnect on you.
Oh man.
Thank you, Discord. So what did you last hear me say? I don't know because everybody kept saying I can't hear her, and then.
All right. So basically, you was agreeing, but you was talking about like, and I was definitely in agreement to what you were saying with the seasons. Instead of just giving an actual date, how about making it seasonal? And then after you said a little bit something, but I kind of lost you after that. So you can go finish right after that.
Okay. So I think they should, like, if they. Just like with Halo did, they said holiday. If they say like summer, then at least they have a time span that maybe they can hit. And if they can't, they can delay, and that's fine. I mean, whatever gets the best product, that's what you want. You don't want a buggy mess, and you know, so let them delay it if they have to. But I think they should just leave a more open time span for themselves.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fantastic point. I
totally agree.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that too. I think that, you know, it also leaves a little bit more intrigue because, you know, especially when we're talking about stuff on these podcasts, that adds a little bit more intrigue because when interest, because when you say the actual date, you know, people always want to tip their cap and say, hey, I was right, you know, and so that brings a little bit more you know, information from maybe that they can say that they got from their unknown whatever, I don't know, sources or whatever the case may be. But that it makes more sense and it gives them a lot more leeway. You don't want to keep saying, well, we're going to bring it on this date, and then, well, we're going to have to push it to this date, because if you keep doing that, there's only Nintendo, PlayStation fans to a certain degree, and Nintendo fans completely. They'll accept it, but
Xbox little yellow notes from Cyberpunk.
Right? Yeah, right. But Xbox gamers, nah, they don't want to hear anything about games being delayed. Like PK was saying, like it just makes no sense at all to worry about that when you have all this great content in your face. And I know there's plenty of this content is hours and hours of time, takes hours of your time. So you shouldn't be worrying about it because you're just adding more to your backlog. I think it's just the era of just
That's it, KMEGA. Everyone's got a backlog. That's the thing.
Right.
So if the
Right.
game doesn't come out on time, it's no big deal. You've got probably at least 10, 15 games that you still need to play. So there
Right.
really isn't an issue here. I think though,
still even Death Door. See, that's the point. I got it, but I ain't even touched it yet because it's too much. I'm agreeing with you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I think though, yeah, just that it's probably trying to manage the expectations. And our gamers, we all know we're vocal. We always have something to say, and there's usually a vocal, minority in the groups that will just complain about everything. But we're still consumers. We're still the customer. And I understand from your point, PKX Live, is that there are unforeseen issues that happen in the background, and we don't think about that most of the time. So I'm glad you brought that point up. But at the same time, consumers want a product when they're expecting it. I mean, it's like if you go get your car serviced and they said you'll get it back at the end of the day, and then the next day they said, "Oh, we're still working on it," and you start to get pissed off, right? So It's just about managing people's expectations and just trying to give them realistic timeframes. And so I think exactly what Mitchie said, if you give a sort of more of a broad time frame, it softens that blow, and people sort of just go, "Oh, cool, it's coming, in holiday, or it's coming in summer, or it's coming in winter," whatever it might be. And people are just more, instead of like, "Oh, that's the date, it's going to be on that day. If it's delayed, I'm going to be pissed." People are just going to go, "Okay, well, it's arriving soon. It'll come when it comes." So I think that's really what it is at the end of the day.
No doubt. I do agree.
So can I add something real quick to it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Excuse me. One thing that I remember, and they used to do it really well, and maybe times have changed, but Bethesda used to be pretty good at that, right? They would never, ever even let you know a game is coming until 6 months before that thing is ready to go. Right. They used to be like, "See this new amazing thing? In 6 months, you're playing it," right? And of course, obviously that has changed, and they made different moves there. I am worried, and I hope that it wasn't because of Microsoft that they, "Hey, by the way, this thing we're making is coming out next year," which is very unlike them, It has been done.
It is
and
very,
those,
I reckon they're confident in stuff. I reckon they're confident. They're well into the game. I think it's just polishing it now. I've heard people say before. So I think they're super confident. They probably could release it by the end of this year, but they've probably gone, "You know what? Let's just make sure that this game is, on point at 100%, as bug free as possible." And we're buying ourselves an extra year. So
and exactly what you just said there, Ashtray. They tend to also be a bad example because they're usually not that bug free when they come out. But at least they don't tell you about it existing until it's 6 months from release.
That is absolutely right. Okay, all right. So I do want to make a pushback on PK for what he was saying, and also what Real Gamer was saying about like yearly games. Okay, so with Madden, it's a difficult pill to swallow sometimes because it is the only football game in town, and I love Madden regardless. I'm a football fan. Shout out to the LA Rams. But yeah, I played 3 seasons, and I stopped because I'm ready for them to start this new mode for the franchise mode, and it's not here. They gave some indication today or yesterday, I believe, where they said that they was going to delay it until October. And me and the Blue was talking about that. We was excited about it. It was some kind of like scouting thing to brings a lot of enhancements. It's new, but this is the thing, right? Like when you look and see, I have not played my player on 2K since the Spike Lee produced one. And I mean, we're talking about about 5 years ago. It's just not, I'm kind of like in the old school franchise. I like to play games online every once in a while, but I mostly like to play to build up my team. Well, I jumped on my player and I love it. The content that NBA 2K has is incredible. Like, I mean, I'm just like, well, damn. Well, I'll play this and try to see if I can get to level 40. Then by the time that I get done with that, hopefully, beforehand, that it'll be the start of the season. So then I can go ahead and start playing games online with other people. I know how to get the shot down, all that other stuff. But the content, it got so many modes. Man has a couple of modes that I really do like, and I think it's cool. But then they drop some other things because they're more into the ultimate team, which way you can make the most money out of. And if they could try to merge because people love to play franchise mode, and if they do that right, then it'll be fine. So it's not all about yearly titles. Just don't bring out the content. Because listen, Call of Duty, it is copy and paste for for the most part. If you just because the gameplay, you don't break what's already fixed. That's already fixed because people love that gameplay. They just want a couple of tweaks here, a couple of tweaks there. But they always give you some kind of highly entertaining story mode, regardless if you don't really like that story mode or not. And then they also give you the war zone. So it's not so much. It's about how these companies bring out the modes. There's people that love just playing zombies. There's other people that just like playing some other modes. That's with COD. Madden has an issue because it once was the fat cat. Then when 2K came in, they got scared because then 2K tried to undercut them in football, and then they just went ahead and bought it, and then they got lazy, and they're trying to get back because they're losing customers. And if they keep failing, like Real Gamer said, then there's going to be people that's going to get completely sick of the game. I mean, I'm listening to people that I trust on YouTube, and they're coming out and they're saying, look, I love it. I want to love this game. I want to. I've been supporting this game for this franchise for so many years, but it's going to come to a head if they don't take their time and do what they're supposed to do for the fan base when you're looking at the competition and what they're doing. And even though that's basketball and FIFA, actually, they're going to be in trouble. So it's not just all games like that. It's just like Madden and maybe a few others that needs to get their shit together. So
can I ask you a question about this specific? Yeah. I don't play. I've dabbled in the football games and whatnot. If I play any sports game, it's more FIFA. I've spent a lot of time in Europe, so I kind of got that. But here's my question to you regarding this. I've heard a lot of people asking about, why is it always just roster updates? They never innovate, and that is very true. Do you think possibly, like, specifically for sports games like Madden, maybe a subscription service like an MMO type thing would be a better fit than selling you another $60 game every year with just a roster update?
Yeah,
what do you think the solution is for that?
I thought about that myself, and like with NBA 2K, no, they got enough content to where you can just play that game all year long and you'll be satisfied. If that's how much content that they have. So, but with Madden, it gets limited unless you're one of those people that just plays online games all the time. So that would probably be their best solution. I've even suggested that to somebody, was like, look, how about you just go ahead and make this last Madden, get ready, because the college football game is going to be coming out here in about 2 years, I think of 2023. And then at that point, just make Madden a service and then just make your money off of the yearly college games, because that's where the real money's going to come for them.
Let me just
play. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
I just want to comment on KMEGA real quick, and you can have the floor.
Please.
And then we can move on now. KMEGA, let me just say this, bro. And I'm not taking away from your ideas or your suggestions. I think that's all great. But the most competitive time of sports is when Sega owned 2K, and they had 2K on Dreamcast, and then EA had to compete with NBA Live and Madden, and 2K was the first football game to go online. That was the most competitive, because then they had to go start innovating. They had to make changes. And guess what? That was the best time for.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not
yes,
true.
It was.
No. There was other football games that was there. Madden was innovative well before 2K football jumped on the scene. I mean, remember there was NFL Drive. There was other football games that was there.
Yeah. No, I'm saying is the top two at the time, and they both were on Dreamcast. They had to compete. Let's just say get on 2K and had all of the sports, right? All of them.
Didn't
Matt
2K drop the price to like ridiculous
yeah,
levels
to,
to
yeah,
compete though? I thought
they
that was
they
that
did.
time,
They
right?
dropped it. Yeah, that
They dropped it to $20 because
$20. Right.
I bought
Because
it. It
everybody
was
gave it a
ESPN
chance.
2K5.
Because it was hard to tell people back then about 2K football until I was having friends play it and they were like, well, let me borrow it. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know, and I was whooping their ass, and then next thing you know, they borrow it for about 2 weeks, and next thing you know, I can't beat them. Like, what is going on here? And because they fell in love with it, and then they spent the $20 and got the game. So
But what
yeah.
I'm getting at is it's not about the game. I'm not
Okay.
trying to get in the game. I'm not
Right.
I don't play sports, you know that.
Right.
But I'm looking at the competition because there was a hunger to want to be the guy on top.
Mhm.
So everybody was competing for the money, and it was kind of intimidating because the platform owner also had his own sports line, right? And that was the thing. So that what I'm getting at is we need to have that back, where one side
But
don't just have this license and
I
this.
know that,
and
but PK, but this is the problem though. It's not EA's fault because the NFL is just like, yeah, we're cool. We don't want to work with all these other football because there's NFL players that want to have that type of competition. See, the one difference between the NBA Live and the NBA 2K, NBA Live can come out anytime they want to. Just 2K just dominated it so much that they have to go back to the drawing board, and then there'll be another NBA Live that's going to come out here, they say, in the next 2 to 3 years. But NBA 2K is so dominant. They just did it the old school way. They just made it to where people, because listen, back then, it was the same thing with NBA Live. You try to tell somebody about 2K back then, they would like, man, you crazy. Man, NBA Live is the best. Now, I guarantee you, those people now would never touch a live game because NBA 2K just delivered like they're supposed to. I agree with what you're saying, but it's the NFL that made the decision because once they had that contract to be renewed, which was what, a year or two ago, NFL decided to just go ahead, even when the players sit there and said, no, we want 2K to make a football game. We want other publishers out there to make a football game so we can have competition. And the NFL just said no. So I don't know. Anybody else want to touch on this?
No, I'll just say I completely agree with PK. I completely 100%. You know, it is definitely true that the fundamental issue here is competition, and it's just unfortunate that this kind of and to Madden to the NFL's benefit, I guess, this kind of monopolistic behavior here where they're not allowing for competition. You know, you can make your own football game, but you're just not allowed to use the NFL franchise to do it, and that's just a non-starter, right? So yeah, unfortunately, it is the way it is until the NFL decides that their wallet is hurting enough to possibly change that. Look at what Disney and Marvel are now doing with their IPs. They realize that maybe handing it to one company might not be enough. Let's get some competition in there. You know, it is very
or MLB
is what needs it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
MLB show.
Yeah.
MLB,
I mean, but,
exactly.
But I mean, but there's no other. There's only like one other baseball game, and that's RBI, and that's not. And that's a low budget title baseball game. So I mean, yeah, it is. I agree with what you guys are talking about. You know, because they are monopolizing, and that's just the way that the NFL themselves see themselves of wanting to monopolize the sports industry themselves. But in fairness, is that EA is only doing what they can do as a business. It's really up to the NBA, to the NFL commission to say, okay, all right, we want to see more because and eventually it has to happen because of the fact of the competition, because of the ratings. I mean, and also the sales. If the sales go down, I should take that back. It really should. I don't think they care about the ratings as long as the sales are good. If the sales go bad, that's what's going to get people to making moves. Money talks, bullshit walks. It's not about it. It's not about it's not about ratings with sports games so much because there's really not any if you look at the VGAs and things like that, they don't really go into sports. It's supposed to be one of those things where, ooh, sports games gross. You see what I'm saying? So that's jock stuff. That's not stuff that, for a lot of these people out here, they used to get harassed by jocks and shit like that. So therefore, it's like, why should I like something like that when it's not something like what we're seeing here in the gameplay, like Mass Effect 3 or anything like that? So I think it's more about the money per se than it's all about the accolades of what people think for Game of the Year and stuff like that. So I don't know. But I do want to read a couple of these super chats. Mr. Mac, thank you so much. He says, shout out to the GRG podcast, just showing some support. And then also we moving on down. We got Verge. What's happening with you, bro? He says, I agree with Ashtray. And then we also got Dirk Griggity. What's happening with you, brother? He said, I almost got into a fight about NBA Live versus NBA 2K. I always wanted a 2K guy. I was always a 2K guy, even when it wasn't popular. KMEGA's right. Live was number one back then. Yeah. I on the Dreamcast. Madden wasn't even on the Dreamcast. Matter of fact, while you talking, I don't think Madden was on there. I think it was just 2K football.
Yeah, he never supported the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
They never did. What happened with the Sega Saturns? I'm a Sega guy, so I know.
Right. What's up with you, Six Layer? I got your message, brother. I appreciate it, man, for you being in here. So anyway, let's go. Yeah, man. It's a great topic. We got to move on because one topic, that's usually how it rolls. All right.
3 hours?
No. We ain't doing no 3 hours. We gonna somebody get onto a long rant, we'll shut their ass up. Be like, okay, all right. I'm gonna hit the button on them.
So
all right,
how did we get to Madden?
What?
That's my fault.
Yeah, man. I had to break the gas. Anyway, so no. But no, I mean, it was a great point, and I do wish that it would. I think that that's the best solution for them to go seasonal. I really do. I think that's a great point. All right. Okay, so here we go. More talk about Xbox and acquisitions. All right. Okay, first off, before I say what would be a great fit, I want to and anybody can, and if all y'all can just make y'all's point. On this panel is sick and tired of talking about these acquisitions from Xbox or anybody.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
yes,
sure.
I'm sick.
Over it.
Give me games.
Thank you. Listen, it's a great talking point for podcasters, no doubt about it, and for the media. But overall, man, listen, I don't care. And once I posted something, I was because I started getting information from the people. And then started looking at some other stuff, and then I, like, hey, Xbox, what are you up to? And then I get so many DMs yesterday. Mega, what do you find out? And then I got people that's sending me paperwork, and I'm like, oh my god, look, I'm just as intrigued as you are to a point, but listen, we have all been wrong to some. I mean, because I swore Sega was going to get picked up by now. I would have sworn Sega was we already got Sega. You know what I'm saying? I would have ready to see the X right by Sonic. I don't see it. So, but with that being said, let's just move on, man.
Never know.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, listen, Xbox has got the bread. I will say this though. There is some crazy movements, and the movements that we've seen is the same patterns of what we found out about what Xbox did right before they announced the Bethesda, or I should say ZeniMax purchase, and that was them pulling out a lot of money or buying stock within itself. And if you are people that are into stocks and bonds, or if you just check out the market, things like that, read outside of the gaming space, you'll kind of get notices from things that there's movement going on between the companies, like especially when there's purchases about to go on, you'll see that there's been some kind of movement up, or a big uptick into their stock or anything like that, and usually that kind of gives you a barometer. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go to Mitchie first on this. What do you think? Okay, so there's been so many rumors out there, but what do you think is the ultimate best fit for Xbox? And if it's more than one, that's fine, but it can only be two. But what are the best? It can only be two. Yeah, it can't be like six. Like, I want them all. But what if it's? I say one, but if you want to say another one, that's fine. But what is the perfect fit for Xbox if they want to make this big acquisition?
Warner Brothers.
Mm.
Because I love me some Batman, even though I know Everborn does not like Batman. But I love me some Batman. And
Everborn, man. Why you don't like that?
Mm-hmm.
I
The
know.
slanderous one.
I
Yeah,
know,
it's a
just
slanderous
slander,
one.
slander.
And I think with Mortal Kombat, and maybe you could get Killer Instinct then,
There
that's
you
just
go.
Shout out to the greatest comic book character ever created.
so you could get so much with that, and plus maybe even a Harley Quinn game, which would be fantastic. I love Harley Quinn.
Ooh. Okay, all right.
But I think Warner Brothers would be the best fit.
Okay, all right. When you said Killer Instinct, that just made just great, just made me happy. Okay, all right. Let's move on down then. Real Gamer, what about you, brother? What one or two is the perfect fit for Xbox, man? I mean, where we at?
I know a lot of people want Warner Brothers because of the whole Batman and Killer Instinct, and they already have a game called, I'm not Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, but they already have Killer Instinct as an IP, so they already have a fighting game.
But they have no one to make it.
Yeah, but if there's something that I would say that Microsoft probably need to diversify their catalog, I would say Sega, because they need more Japanese games. They've been wetting their foot with some Japanese support.
Well, I didn't know where you was gonna go with that, but I was like, okay. I didn't know where you was going. I was like, I said everybody been PG, but damn, all right. I mean, once we get to 9 o'clock, all hell about to be okay. All right.
They've been doing a lot better with more Japanese support these past few years. Remember when Phil Spencer was taking these back and forth trips to Japan, and a lot of people was getting annoyed because we wasn't getting no games at the time and no Japanese games. And all of a sudden we got the whole entire catalog of Yakuza on Game Pass, and got The Judgment and Dragon Quest and Kingdom Hearts for the first time reaching Xbox consoles. So I think if they have another Japanese studio, I know they have one that's Tango, but if they can get more Japanese studios, then maybe they could, sell more consoles out there to be more familiarized out there, to especially get the Japanese people to, basically want to buy an Xbox. Just look at the fact that a lot of JRPGs is getting very popular and selling a lot lately, like with the Persona series. That was the best-selling Persona game ever, almost about 4 or 5 million copies. And Dragon Quest 11, that was the best-seller. And then you got Tales of Arise, that's the best-selling. So I'm just looking at the fact that there's a big push of Japanese JRPGs these days, and Sega have a all-time cult classic that did not sell well, but it's like one of the most highest reviewed JRPGs and probably the best JRPG ever. It's called Skies of Arcadia. So if they can get something like that remade, oh my freaking God.
Skies of Arcadia was great, but it was Shining Force 3, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, they had, you got the Shining Force, you got the Phantasy Star, they have those Japanese JRPGs on lock. And if they could get more of that to be exclusive to their ecosystem, that's more consoles sold in Japan.
Phantasy Star is
they still doing bad in Japan, but this probably about to be the best-selling Xbox console in Japan. It's not really saying much, but if they could get Sega on board and use Microsoft's budget to budget these games, oh my God. It's not because I'm a Sega fanboy. They just got a big backlog of games that can really benefit Xbox and their fan base. That's basically all I got. I think Sega will be the perfect fit.
But you know what? I was thinking somebody was going to bring up Sega, but I wasn't even thinking about that game, man. That was, that's a good one. That is a great one. All right. What about you, Ashtray? What is the best fit for Xbox, man? I mean, what do you think? You got two choices. Or you got one, but if you
only need one, man.
Oh, you only need one. Okay, what you got?
I only need one. I mean, look, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Microsoft/Xbox, they can buy anyone they want, right?
Right.
But it's all about strategic buys, a smart buy. Who's got the most IP? Who's got IPs that are just sitting there dormant? go back to Sega again, right? For example, you've got a game like Duel Master where you used to walk around with these rings and you'd use these powers. You've got Shinobi. Everyone knows Shinobi. Golden Axe.
God,
I mean,
Shinobi.
imagine turning Golden Axe into an RPG type game, or Shinobi into a hack and slash. Like there's so many IPs that could be brought into today's gaming space. That no, like they're old IPs, sure. And some people go, oh, but they're old games. Turn them into new games. Turn them into the new style of game that we're all used to playing with the new mechanics, the new graphics. It'll blow people's minds. Not to mention the Japanese market, of course. Once you get Sega, then you get the Japanese market and a lot of Europe too. So I know that Sega sold well back in the day, in its heyday, in Europe and the UK. So obviously US and Australia as well. But they're just that is a gold mine. Sega is definitely a gold mine for not only Xbox but for Game Pass. Now, Game Pass, you could bring these games into Game Pass too, the way they were. You just emulate them back in, and people like me will still play them. I mean, okay, I've got them on my old consoles. They're not hooked up at the moment. I prefer the new consoles, the new graphics, the new controllers. So imagine, for me, I loved Shinobi, for example. So I'll play that on a big screen TV. Again, no problem. So I just think that there's just far too much IP and money just sitting there doing nothing at this point in time. And to me, that's a no-brainer. But look, there could be other things preventing that from happening. And look, actually, that's another point, is that these types of deals take years, depending on how much is going on in the background, red tape, politics, etc. Some of these deals can take, 5 or more years. So a lot of, you never know. Sega still could be something.
Wow.
Still a
Okay.
possibility.
Y'all are making some really great points for Sega, man. I'm all right. So let's
Big
keep
fan.
it. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm a big fan of Sega too. But I mean, I wasn't expecting to hear some of these great classics. I mean, I brought up Shinobi before, and yeah, Sega has a lot of them. So all right. So let's go to UK. Ashanti. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I want to say Ashanti. Because it's so close to it, but what do you think, man?
Mine was first.
Oh yeah, yo, what's first?
What do I think? So
Yeah.
okay, everybody. I will actually. Second, you said two choices. I'll tell you my thought that I think they're gonna do, and I'll tell you the one that my tinfoil hat one that everyone says I'm wrong, and I know I'm wrong, but just follow me. So what they should do, obviously, the obvious answer is WB. Why? Because that would fit all their gaps in their portfolio. They are there. Most people, still see them as a game company, but they're the Netflix of games, and it changes the equation when you think of it that way. They're still, specifically with Game Pass, they're missing family-friendly games. They've even said that themselves. WB gives them TT games. That'll give you that. Even if the Lego IP is taken away from them, they have Minecraft, they have Banjo-Kazooie, they have all these other IPs that they themselves could just hand TT, and TT could, fill that gap. It's also been noted that they need a fighting game, fighting studio. Obviously, it's been famously noted that on Twitter, Ed Boon has said, hey, whenever they're ready to make a Killer Instinct versus Mortal Kombat, I'm there. He has said that himself. So there you go. There's your Mortal Kombat / Killer Instinct game there, right? They have lots of holes that they could fill. It's a very smart move for their portfolio. WB, sure. But here's my tinfoil hat one, okay? And I know it'll never happen, but people always talk about, if they buy these big guys, they will be, there's antitrust concerns and monopolies and this and that. Have y'all heard of, and I said this on Boom Show, so maybe some of your audience might have heard already. Have y'all heard of Embracer Group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
244 IP.
I was going to say they have a lot of IP.
Over 70 studios. Okay. And when I say this, people go, well, what are you talking about? if you're a gamer of a certain age, you recall there used to be AA games, right? The AA fell out of the market. Now it's either AAA or indie,
or indie.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, systematically, Embracer Group has bought out all of AA. Like any game you remember from the 90s, you remember fondly, they own it. Time Splitters, they own it. Red Faction, they own it. You know, all of Borderlands. Like, think of any crazy thing you remember from back in the day that you used to enjoy that had a spark of creativity that never really turned into that big AAA thing. THQ Nordic / Embracer Group has bought it, right? And they also own a whole bunch of other subsidiaries as well. Gearbox as one of them. You know, I'm just like calling out the ones that people will recognize, but there are 244 IPs and over 70 studios. And all in all, once you like check their market cap and all that, you usually have to double it. At worst, it's about $20 billion. And that's the same price that they paid for LinkedIn. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying people need to stop with the big three. With I know like folks are all about what they want. And of course, obviously, I would love to see them buy some of the big guys, right? But there's just so much out there that folks aren't thinking about. Because the reason why I would say I would go for an Embracer versus a Sega or someone else somewhere else, these guys have huge IP, but they also have a lot of pressure to produce, right? If you buy Sega right now, you better make sure that the next Sega game, like let's say for instance, the next Persona game is absolutely insane on that console. And even beyond that, the question will be, oh, will it be exclusive? You're gonna hear that for years. It's gonna be ridiculous. Whereas Embracer Group, you don't know what they got. They have so many IPs. You can train them and bring them up organically to pick up one of the AA titles and potentially make something magical out of it. You know, it takes time, it takes effort, but that would literally fill their Netflix of games with like ridiculous amounts of content. Like it's just insane amounts of content. I don't think Microsoft would even want to do that because the undertaking, you know, you hear Matt Booties is at his wit's end with like 12, 13 studios, right? And that's why Bethesda wasn't really put under them. This would be 70 studios and publishing houses and nuts, but it is doable, and that would literally like cap their content flywheel forever. Like there would be months where you'd have 5, 6, 7 games because there's just that many studios. You know,
have to hire
if you look at
more
them,
Matt Booties.
Well, I mean,
any more Matt Booty.
Well, I mean, if
you know.
like you was just bringing up though, that and the whole Ashanti thing was a joke. So I mean, that just what that was what it was. But anyway, so that's what you were saying about the AA. I've talked about that before. How the AA game is definitely needed. That's where Game Pass can come in, and you're absolutely right. I 100% agree. Sarah Bond would most likely probably take over a lot of that. You know, but I mean, but you're talking about 70 studio. That is crazy.
244 IPs.
That is
insane.
Nuts. Yeah, like I mean, the content would be endless. And I mean, but that right there is that was a huge. Our boy Cali Rex, if he was listening tonight, or if he was on the podcast, he would be like, "Oh man," because he always because he's more concerned about Tencent than he is any because he doesn't want all these great studios to go up under their umbrella. But yeah, that group is definitely
they're the silent giant, just eating up all the AA's. They really are. They are. And if you look at their portfolio, there's just so many great titles that you'll recall from them that you don't even know they own anymore. You know.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, man. That was hitting it out the park right there. All right, PK, it's up to you, man. What do you think?
Well, first they bought LinkedIn for 50 billion.
You are correct.
Same place. And let's just pretend they buy Roblox. Roblox is the only gaming company ever come out and go public that's worth 50 billion, more than EA, more than the company you just spoke of, more than any of them. Day one, and it just does one game, and that game does not exist on PlayStation.
Yep.
I think that's weird, but it doesn't. It's on Xbox, it's on Switch, but it's not on
And
PlayStation.
mobile. Yeah, it's big on mobile, and I know a bunch of kids that play it. Yeah, indeed.
However, Sega is probably the best argument for a lot of reasons. In 2017, we were getting rumors about Xbox buying Bethesda. Nobody believed it. You know, it was around the One X time for its release, and they was talking about that. No one believed it. Well, more than likely, it was happening, but you know, it takes time to iron all that stuff out. Recently, Sega Sammy Sega had just separated their gaming division from their pachinko machine division, which is why Sammy bought Sega in the first place. So why is that? Why is it now separate? So this is the same thing that happened when Time Warner Media and Time Warner Cable split. They both were, once that happened, now they're primed to be bought.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. And it's all about relationships as well. Sega has been one of the closest partners since day one. The original Xbox controller and everything was designed after. I mean, heck, the president of Xbox at the time was Peter Moore. He came from Sega of America. He was the guy. He was the guy that pushed everything, that made those relationships.
Oh yeah, the first Xbox was a spiritual successor to the Dreamcast. That's for sure.
So, and they always had relationships. Now, no one's directly said, but there's a lot of rumors, and I know there is one thing from one of my Xbox executive friends that there is a lot more Game Pass unannounced games coming. You better be on the lookout. Now, I know that Persona 5 is on its 5-year anniversary. TGS is around the corner. Xbox will be there. Sony may not. But everybody else will be there. Also, there is an unspoken Sega RPG that will be announced as well.
Yep.
Sega has a super close relationship with Xbox. It just makes sense. They primed themselves to be bought, right? They split their pachinko machines and their game divisions completely separate. They're primed. They're ready. Will it happen? I don't know. Do we want it to happen? Sure. Does it make sense? Absolutely. Because now that it's separate, the price is now even smaller. Because now you don't have to buy the company as a whole, just a part of it. Right? Similar to what happened to Fox and how Disney was able to do that. And what Disney is, what nobody, we might not be talking about, but they're trying to press to buy Sony Pictures, right? Just to get that Spider-Man IP back. Not the whole company, just the movie space. This stuff happens all the time. But I would say that there are I know for a fact there will be a Japanese acquisition. Or not, I won't say Japanese, Asian or Eastern, because
yeah.
it could be Korean. It might not be Japanese. And yes, there is Xbox owns a fighting game, and you guys act like Sega is not one of the pioneers of fighting games, yo.
Yeah, what is Virtual Fighter? The first 3D fighter. Yeah.
The reason why Dead or Alive even had an engine to start with is because of Virtual Fighter. So let's not act like they haven't dabbled in everything. They have. I mean, Fighting Vipers.
And they also made Eternal Champions. Yeah.
I mean, we can go on and on, but the point I'm making is they have done it. So it's not like they can't do a fighter. They can do. The problem with Sega right now is they don't have the funding to have the better talent behind their IPs. Now think about this. This is what's crazy about the Asian market is they somewhere around there, they have anomalies that resist rational economics, right? I'll give you an example. Nintendo is an anomaly. It resists rational economics. What I mean is, Nintendo always does the same thing, and it's successful, even though it is probably one of the worst offenders of doing anti-consumer type of behavior. Sonic hasn't had very many successes of games. I mean, Generations, Colors, and I would say maybe even Unleash has been Generations and Colors being the best, but out of all the ones that came out out of the last 10 years, 15, it hasn't been very successful.
What about Sonic Mania? Sonic Mania was a good game.
It might have been a good game, but it wasn't a success. So what I'm getting at is that, and I'm a Sonic fan, but Sonic, the character, is still more popular than Mario, even with the non-successful games. That he is an icon above his own weight. With that being said, what do you think that will do for the Xbox brand? Just having Sonic as an icon. I'm not even talking about a game, because again, even the last game did not sell well. However, the movie is still the best video game movie ever made. And it has a sequel coming out next year.
That's not saying a lot,
No, but
some of the popularity of Sonic, basically.
I mean about video game movies. That's what I mean.
I mean, there's been some good ones. Detective Pikachu was great, right? There was some good ones, but I'm not. Besides that point, yes, there has not been very many of those, but there have been good ones too. At the end of the day, if it wasn't for the fans speaking out originally for that one trailer to get, and that they was like vocal, right? Think about it. Fans that probably have not bought a Sonic game, but they seen that first movie trailer where he looked like an alien, they was like, nah, cuz. And they changed it, and then became the most successful movie of 2020 during the pandemic.
It was right before the pandemic.
Well, it came out in February, but it ended sometime in March and whatever during shutdown. But that's not the point. The point I'm making is he is an icon. He brings bodies and puts, regardless if he has a game or not, he puts people in seats. He makes people pay attention. And that's what I'm getting at. I think that's why Sega is such a marvel in Japan, even though their games have not been as successful, like what you would call a market success, right? Namco Bandai is all about using licensed products and pushing out games, whether they're good, niche, or not. They're typically successful, right? Since Bandai pretty much owns all the toys license, they leverage that relationship with the anime to get all the games made. Now, that doesn't mean all the games are great, but that doesn't matter. What matters is they got the attention. And people still spent money, still bought the games, and still sat there, and that's why they keep doing what they're doing. I think that's a hustle. I'm not saying do what Namco Bandai does, but however, Sega has a audience in the Asian market that people pay attention to. And if you have them under your umbrella, you'll immediately get the attention of that audience that you have a hard time grabbing hold of now, right? And I'm not saying Sega's the only choice. Like I said, the makers
but that's yours, though. That's yours.
That's one of mine, yes. But
Right.
The other one could be like, for instance, the makers of Black Desert Online. Whether you like that a game or not, that's the most prettiest game I've ever seen. Period.
Pearl Abyss. Pearl Abyss.
Yeah, the prettiest character models you ever seen animated. right? And they're making other games, but the point I'm making is look at how much time and energy they put into to create such a world. You talking about Sega? I'm talking about Altered Beast being open world, or your Golden Axe being open world. I'm talking about like having the ability to attract more Asian developers to put. They don't even have to do those games. They could just take Killer Instinct. They could just take Banjo Kazooie, right?
I don't know if they could take
They can
Killer Instinct, but yeah, Banjo Kazooie they could. I mean, that's the whole reason about Killer Instinct is because it's a certain type of developer that worked on it. That's been the whole problem with Killer Instinct. It's that the developers that worked on the game, they're bought by somebody else, and so it's like kind of hard to find those same type of developers.
Well,
But I mean,
so the ones who created the reboot got bought, but Iron Galaxy is still freelanced. However, they are still not bought. So that to me that sells you two things. One, they were only good enough to keep it going, but they're not good enough to bring on full time. But the people who they wanted got away because Amazon scooped them up. But all I'm saying is, I think for the Japanese market, and I think there's a reason why, there's a strong Xbox presence there, because there has been a decline in PlayStation sales, and I think the excitement for the Series S has given the Asian market a new reason to play console gaming, because they just wasn't interested, and the only thing they will play is Switch because it's mobile. But the Series S is small and powerful.
And don't forget about xCloud.
Yeah. Well, not just xCloud, but Game Pass in general is a new phenomenon, right? It's something different. And I think that's the gateway. I don't think Microsoft is trying to push the consoles, but more or less get them in the ecosystem. And I think with that said, if we can get the either the branding of Sega or developers like the ones you guys mentioned underneath their umbrella, that will definitely make sense for a acquisition, I think.
Okay. All right. No, that's I mean, Sega has been the big one. So I'm going to have to throw a monkey wrench in this one and give you mine. And I agree, Sega would be great. I think that WB would definitely be great because of Mortal Kombat, and just it is Shadow of Mordor, that Nemesis system. There's a lot of great things that they could do with that. Batman, of course. But I'm going to go with something completely off the wall, almost like Ember's group. And I'm going to say Steam. I say, okay, if you go and you check the movement in the securities of the top stock owners within Microsoft, like I said I was saying earlier, if you checked what they did when they had this type of movement, they bought ZeniMax. When you go and you calculate every bit of the money that they've taken out, pretty much bought their own stocks, because that's kind of like what they do. It was $80 billion. If you want to get that type of money out of your own, throughout your own stocks, you're trying to buy something big. And the only thing that I could think of that could be anywhere close to, and I don't think Steam would be anywhere that much, but I could be wrong. But I feel that Xbox would want to get that because if you remember, you go back to what Gabe said when he was doing an interview at some news on a news channel or something, and they were talking about PlayStation, which was going to be better, PlayStation, Xbox. He said Xbox. And there's another factor to this too. It almost reminds me of the whole LucasArts situation. Like people couldn't believe that Lucas sit there and sold it to Disney. The man's old. He didn't want to. That's a headache to listen to not only a fan base. Just today, no lie, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to some listeners and to people that wanted to talk about Star Wars, and they want to talk about the writing, and they're scared of uh, her last name is Mags. I can't remember what her first name is, and they're scared of her. And because there's this content creators out here that's going out here spewing this stuff, all they want women's liberated rights, and they want to take away the man's rights and things like this, and so they're afraid of the writing, and they're afraid of the direction. And remember just what happened when Jar Jar Binks came in there. People just dogged the hell out of the Phantom Menace, right? Jar Jar Binks got more attention than I guess the movie did. You know what I mean? So that's tiring, and he's an old guy, and Gabe is old too, and he's not going to do it forever. And what would you think that he would? And he looks at his competition, which is not too much of competition. When you see Epic and you see others, but I mean, Epic is not no slouch. You know, they got one of the biggest, if not the biggest game in the world out there. With Fortnite, definitely one of the biggest. It's clear that Microsoft, if they're going to make this acquisition, it's going to be big. And I don't know if it's just going to be one acquisition. I think it might be several, but I would go for Steam. Lock the PC market completely down. You already got Windows. Microsoft has got the PC market locked down in that sense with Windows and personal computers, all that. But if you want to dominate the gaming space in PC gaming, you go for the head of the snake. And that right there, there would be some PC guys that would revolt. They would be pissed. They'd be like, I'm going to go to GOG and I'm going to go to Epic. No, they're not. They're not going to go to Epic. There might be some people that'll jump around and go a couple of places, but they know where their toast is buttered, and that is Steam. Steam is life when it comes. It's the lifeblood, pretty much. And I don't see anybody making anything anywhere close to trying to compete with Steam. So that's why I say, if you're going to go swing for the fences, if you're going to pull out big paper, that's the one to go after. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but just the benefits, all of those PC games that's out there, just think about those PC games that's available that could be coming over on the Xbox through Game Pass. Just think about what they would do. They would probably get rid of the Windows Store altogether. They might keep it for some certain things, but they don't have to worry about to try to revamp it, try to make it right. They could just go and have everything be done through Steam and let it look and feel and look and play just like it always have. And maybe we have a little X somewhere. Just keep it the same. Don't even have to put the X there. Just buy it, keep it. It's theirs. They dominate. There's nothing there's nothing that can stop them at that point. I don't know. Do any of you guys agree with me or disagree with me?
I mean, I wouldn't say they would do it recently, but it is well known that if Gabe were to ever sell, he would sell to his buddy Microsoft because he's worked with them for so long. I mean, as far as it happening soon, I'm a little bit hesitant on that because they're still very big in we're selling the Steam Deck. They're doing a bunch of stuff. I think this would be a bit disruptive in comparison to that. And another thing that's weird about that is they are not publicly traded, so a lot of it would be hush hush until it really has to be disclosed. I know obviously Microsoft is, so they would have to, and that's why you can see some of the moves they're making. But it would be interesting. I mean, I know for sure that if the day ever comes that Gabe is done, Microsoft would be the first choice.
Yeah.
About when that would happen, though, that's the question mark.
Right. That's the whole point. I mean, and listen, this I just think that's where to swing the fence at first, and then if the 80 billion, we don't have no idea that shit could be going to new enhancements to AR. We don't know, but the thing to me is what is compelling is that if you want to pull out that type of money, you want something massive. And the only thing that I could think of that is that, man, you look at EA. EA is nowhere near no 80 billion. Come on. ZeniMax was what, 7.5? WB
8.2 after tax.
Okay, 8.2. So WB would be what? Because WB would be how much? About 10? 15, maybe? And the only reason,
and initially I thought they asked for like 15 or 20, upwards of 20, and that's what broke the conversation way back in the day, those reports. But yeah. And of course now the factors have changed, right? Because they've also sold things still.
Yes. And then also there's another factor into this as well. If let's say that it's not Steam, because this is my second one. Let's just say that you go for, and I'm going to go with WB, because not only that, you're going to try to, if you go all out, you want to work with, you want to get the Discovery Plus, you want all of that. And if you can sit and how much is AT&T's debt? Isn't it around 80 billion?
Something like that,
yeah. Yeah. So you just say, look, I got you. We want full rights to make any type of DC game we want. We'll take care of your debt, and we get WB games. And then also we can go ahead and we can also do stuff with we can do our own kind of Netflix type of thing, to where, when they were first trying to do the Xbox Studios, and remember everybody kind of ran them out of town because they were like, oh, who wants TV? But just think about the series that they can make, like a Perfect Dark series. They can.
Isn't Discovery Plus separate?
Yes.
From that whole thing.
Yes, Discovery. But I'm saying, like, if they could go and try to get all of that in a package, or for whatever, because I think if AT&T, because AT&T is still merged with the whole Discovery thing, I believe. The one thing that AT&T wants more than anything is that debt to be taken care of. And if you look at the numbers of how much they took out of their stock to pay for themselves, or for whatever that they, their securities of what they spent, it's the same amount about how much that AT&T is due. So that if like I said, I think if there's going to be anything that's going to be done, it's going to be huge. It's not going to be soft. It's not going to be it could be Sega. I don't think it's Take-Two. I think Take-Two is just too powerful. GTA is just a whole nother level. They're going to rake money as long as they want to. NBA 2K is raking a lot of money. They're not missing. I don't think that the only way that they would want that to happen is if they wanted to be bought. And I just think that they're just too powerful for them, too much of a powerful of a stance for them to be touched. So I just think that you would go for the fences, Steam, or you go for Warner Brothers, and you get the whole caboodle. You get it all, everything. So that way that you don't have to have any type of discussion about any type of conflicts about what games you want to make, any of that, and then you got access to all those DC characters, and then people won't be talking that crazy shit about, we need more superhero games. And then you also have, like I said, the Nemesis system and all of that. I don't know, but that's my theory on it. So anybody think I'm crazy? Chat, do y'all think I'm crazy?
I don't think you're crazy, but I think it'd be for multiple purchases as opposed to one big one.
Yeah. I would personally love for them to get, if it was ideal, like just for me, fantasy, it'd be WB, and it'd be it would be Sega, and it would be people who make The Witcher 3.
CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red. I love CD. I love CD Projekt Red, man. I know that their games come out to be broken as hell. The Witcher 2 was broken. The Witcher 3 was broken. But they keep working on those games. Those games come out to be masterpieces. And Cyberpunk was amazing. I know I played it on the X, and I feel bad for everybody who didn't get a chance to play it on the X or their or a PC or something that could withstand it, even though it was a buggy mess as well too. But damn that story, that they just make amazing story games, in my opinion. So
I completely agree. I had a wonderful experience with that game, but I could never say that loudly because most people didn't.
Right. And I feel bad for that, because they are missing out. And CD Projekt Red need to get that shit taken care of so people can actually get to experience it. Because I thought that was my game of the year, right next to Ghost of Tsushima.
Completely agree. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. So let's get to it. Let's get to the let's get to this. Make this the last topic. And, you know what I'm saying? Let's make this the last topic. I think. Well, we might make it. We might make it on time. I don't know. Will we? I don't know. Anyway, probably not.
Probably.
Probably not. Let's see. All right. So, GeForce, they came out and had some leaks, and it's caused a lot of attention. So I'm going to go ahead and read some of these things out here. And this could be just an open discussion. We don't have to take turns. Just be respectful to everybody, to when people are talking or whatever. But I want to read off some of these games, and I want to know if you guys think that this is true or false, or if this is a game like you just excited about. So let's go ahead and see if I can work this new technology. As my boy Six Slayer would say, is KMEGA gonna fat finger it and mess something up? Let's hope not. All right. Okay, let's see. Boom! Oh, shucky ducky. Look at this quack. All right. So let's look at this. I know, right? All right, so let's do this. Oh man. Okay, so here's some of the games that they said that there was in this leak, which is incredible. You got Chrono Cross Remaster, day one. Let me have that. You guys think that this is real, or you think this is a joke? And who's hyped for this? Who's hyped for this?
Well, I think I'll just jump in real quick. So the PlayStation games that are listed on the list that I've got in front of me is like God of War, Returnal, Ghost of Tsushima, Demon Souls, etc. We all know that they're coming PC anyway, so that's not a surprise whatsoever. A lot of these games have been out already, so that some are new, some have already been out. So there's nothing really exciting there. Indiana Jones, for example, we know that that's going to go to PC because it's part of Xbox. Whether it's a timed exclusive or a full exclusive, we know if it's on Xbox, it's going to go to PC anyway. So nothing really stands out to me at all, to be honest with you. Crisis 4, there you go. There's another one that's always come to PC. So yeah, I can't say I'm surprised. Whether it's real or not, it's a different story. It looks legit enough to me. Apparently, there's even more that aren't even on that list that was leaked or something. So I would say it's a legitimate leak, and nothing really surprises me.
So let me throw an interesting little side note into this discussion.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to this. This was just a listing of games, right?
Right.
It is also known that because of pandemic, a lot of people are using remote streaming services while building games and using the games. So the the people who were able to scrape the data from GeForce just saw the names and are speculating. Doesn't automatically mean that this is a game that's coming to that service or it's coming to PC. It could be a game that is being worked on by multiple teams using NVIDIA's broadcast service, just like they use Parsec and they use, various different sharing mediums instead of being locally in their studio. So that list could be a list of still PlayStation games that happen to have been worked on through NVIDIA's Shield, NVIDIA's streaming service, and that's how it was captured. So and another side, I did hear that a few of the code names that were listed there, some of the code names for the games, my first instinct was, the rumors come and rumors go. It is what it is. But a few folks that had not leaked those code names were able to verify that those code names actually exist. So that lends credence to a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, that's also some of those games, those code names, like was what Project Holland and all that, which was basically talking about the some kind of RPG from Xbox, a couple of RPGs, and there was some from Inexile and all that. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so all right, like I said, Chrono Cross Remaster, I would be all over it. Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster. If anybody played Final Fantasy Tactics on the old PlayStation 1, that would be crazy. But you also got to take in effect about the remaster aspect of it, because you don't know if that's whatever. But I don't know.
You mean
You
the
know what
$70 remaster?
I'm saying? Right. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know.
If it doesn't say remake, I'm not interested.
Yeah,
these days.
yeah. Final Fantasy VII remake. Of course, we knew that was going to come to PC. It's going to eventually come to Xbox. I do not know why people are still trying to cap and make it out to where it's not going to come. It will. You know, just like the devs. By the way, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the devs from who was making KOTOR remake said that it was going to be a multiplat. It was just a timed exclusive. So that all that talk went away quick, and then next thing you know, there was other people that were like, well, who cares? I never played the first one anyway. It is so funny how fanboyism work with some of these people, but it's wild. But okay, Final Fantasy 11 remake. That I don't know. I mean, I thought a lot of people didn't like 11. Or was that the MMO?
That was the first version of the MMO that they remade.
Okay,
That's the one that people hated.
Okay. All right. That's what I was thinking, because I was thinking the one with lightning in them. I was like, I didn't think.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't even play it, but I remember it because then when they fixed it, it was what, lightning strikes again. I'm like, okay, I see what you did there.
Oh yeah. And then they had the lightning returns and all. And I listen, I played all three, but I beat the first one. And then I got halfway through the second one, but I was liking how the beginning of the third one started, but then of course there were so many other games and work and children and all that. There was just no time to get to it. I might go back and play it some other time. But this, you got Final Fantasy 16, which we know that's going to be coming to PlayStation. That's a game that's up for discussion. It's supposed to be timed, but we don't know. That could be an exclusive for PlayStation. We don't know. But it's definitely going to be coming to PC. Gear 6. Now, this is one that I'm not feeling. I don't think Gears is going to be coming out anytime soon. If anything, I just don't know. Do you guys think the Gears might pop up?
No.
Yeah,
not anytime soon.
Yeah,
but it will still come to PlayStation.
Yeah, it's going to come.
I think so. I think so.
You think Gears is going to come?
I think that's a long way.
Came at a 3-year span between 4 and 5, so they're gonna have to wrap up Kate's story, and I'll probably say maybe next year or possibly 2024 we will get Gear 6 just to get the conclusion of her story.
Oh wow,
that's what I think.
That's a bold prediction. Okay, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I was just thinking, I thought that they would probably let Gears marinate.
Aren't they still putting stuff out for 5?
Yeah, they just dropped something.
Yeah, they put updates out for 5 all the time.
Yeah. So, but if you're saying that it's going to come out to be a next gen title like 2023, 24, I mean, it's plausible. I'm not, I was kind of thinking that they would take their time, especially hearing the rumors that they were going to be working on some smaller title, maybe that could be rumored to that old game that they were working on with Shanghai Knights or whatever. But if they just want to go ahead and just do Gears 6, then okay, I'm with it. So it's all good.
I'd like another Gears Tactics, please.
Oh yeah, Gears Tactics was fantastic.
Agreed. Yes,
great,
100%.
Tomb Raider Anniversary. So I'm assuming that it's going to be like
the old one.
All the old ones. I don't know too much about that. That's kind of weird.
The anniversary one, that was like Xbox 360.
Yeah,
yeah.
I recall. Yeah.
Kind of clunky in its old way, but
yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
I played that game. I liked that game, but it was challenging.
A matter of fact, I said I had this with the last topic. I lied because we got to talk about Project Eve. So I'll be quick about this so we can go ahead and get through this. All right, because I think that's a really important topic. Unannounced title by Square Enix. Okay, that could be anything. All right, skip that. Alan Wake remastered. We definitely know that that's coming out. They showed it.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 6. All right.
6. How do you get to 6? They're only on 3, aren't they? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, this shows 6. That's a V, and that's
depends
a 1.
on the naming convention.
Right.
By naming convention, they probably have 15 of them at this point.
They're probably right. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. So yeah, this should be 4, but I don't know. So Indiana Jones, we do know about that. Stalker. Android. I know that their cell phones are really powerful, but I don't know. Payday 3. Has anybody played Payday? I've never played a Payday game. How are they?
Payday is a great game.
Really?
That's the clown, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically the middle of Grand Theft Auto. When you're having a heist, that's the game.
No
Okay.
That's the payday is the heist. That's all it is.
Okay.
You're
That's
in
all
there.
it is.
You're taking money out. You got team people, a team working with you. Cops are here. Take the money out. Hand the bag to the other person. It's how to be a team of bank robbers and get away with it. The more you get away with it, it's very replayable. I think they even eventually gave it away for free on Steam at some point. But
I know that there's a it's a cult classic. I just never. Yeah, I never played.
It's interesting.
One.
It's a very interesting multiplayer. It quite is. I never really I don't tend to be a multiplayer gamer like that, but I did see what they were doing there, and it went from this little indie darling at some point to being very popular. So
okay, all right. Then we got the Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. I got those already, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know if PC has it or not, but I don't know. So I'm skipping that. Time Splitters 2 Remastered. See, you talked up Time Splitters. That would be amazing. I love Time Splitter. That was one of my favorite shooters back then. I wasn't big on shooters. 007, Time Splitters, and then Halo just came and just changed everything for me when it came to shooters. But yeah, Time Splitters was amazing for me. Talos Principle. Don't even know what the hell that is. Sounds like it's some kind of maybe
it's a puzzle game. Think
oh,
of
okay.
think of Jonathan Blow. What's the name? What's the game he made? Where you're solving puzzles in a beautiful world.
Mist. I was gonna say
Same kind of
Mist.
thing.
Mist.
It kind of Mist like, yes.
Yeah.
Kinda
Okay. That's
Mist.
what. Yeah. That's
Or
what I was thinking.
Riven.
Okay.
Talos Principle is
Riven,
exactly like that.
Okay. All right. XCOM 3. Yeah. Speaking of them, the guys who make XCOM 3, I'm really hyped for the Marvel game, Midnight Suns. I'm really looking forward to that game. I was watching some gameplay on it. I was stoked. Resident Evil 4 remake. Man, could you just let this game die? Give us Code Veronica already. Can we get damn Code Veronica? Why are y'all playing games with my Resident Evil with this damn? How many times are we gonna have Resident Evil 4? God dang. Street Fighter 6, hype for that. Love my fighters. Dragon's Dogma 2. That was a really cool game. I didn't really get that far in it because I bought it late and I just didn't give it enough time, but it was cool. I liked the way that you could fight against the creatures, jump on them and shit. I thought that was really cool. Monster Hunter 6. I played my very first Monster Hunter with the last one. I thought that was a fantastic game, but I didn't play the multiplayer. If I started playing with the multiplayer, I played with Bloody Knuckles with it, and I was like, oh man, I wish I played more of this. I mean, this game has been out for 4 years already. So I will definitely be all over that. GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. We did hear about that. BioShock remaster.
Did they do that already?
That would be the second remaster, wouldn't
That's right. Yeah, because I got the remasters on PC and on Xbox. That's pretty crazy. A new BioShock in 2022. Mirror's Edge remaster. I mean, you can go ahead and bring that game back. I know a lot of people didn't like the second one. I thought the second one was pretty cool, but you know, it is what it is. Untitled Respawn game, which is probably well, no, here it is right here. Titanfall 3. A lot of people wait for that. Okay. PK. I know you don't want to see me in that Tekken. That's what I'm talking about. That Tekken 8, boy. When that comes, I'm gonna be making that. I'm gonna be making that call. I'm gonna hit you up. Ready for that Tekken life. Human Fall Flat 2. I hate those type of games because I think those little bouncy body things where you just can't control the character and you're just like little. Yeah, no, those are stupid to me. Crisis 4. Okay, cool. Hopefully it doesn't come in broken. Yeah.
Crytek is busy making all the Crisis remakes, so it's not surprising to do 4.
It is not surprising. Earth Defense 4-6. I've never played Earth Defense, but I bought like 3 of them on PC. They look cool, but I just haven't got to them yet. Okay, so you got Bayonetta 3. I hope the Bayonetta comes out and becomes a multiplat. I would love that. If Bayonetta is supposed to be coming out here to PC, then that would be great. I will cop that. I love Bayonetta. Judgment. Catherine's Full Body. That game is really weird. Okay, listen, I don't have bloody here. So some of you guys got to hit me up with this, with the Tensei 5. this is where Persona was the spinoff from. What is it called? Shin Megami Tensei?
Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I was gonna say just let me be country. So yeah. So that would be great if it comes to PC. Batman Arkham Knight's remaster.
Only game on this list I care about. Batman Arkham Knight remaster.
Wow.
To me, that game is a perfect game that has needed love for so long. I've played that game for years.
It's a beautiful game as it is back then. But yeah, that would be stunning. Half-Life
I would
2
love to see it remaster.
Yeah, that would be cool. The Project FPS. All right. So that was a good list right there to go through. All right, so let's get back and show the gameplay, and let's get to our actual really last topic, because I finally got back to my list, and I don't know why in the world I forgot about this, because I thought this was very, very important. All right, so Project Eve. There was a person that from Digital Foundry came out and said that the character in Project Eve was too sexualized, and basically is kind of demeaning, and that type of content is gross. So I was hoping that D was going to be on here as well, but Mitchie, we got to go to you first on this. What is your initial thoughts about these type of games? Now, I mean, there's been plenty of games that depict women in certain ways. Do you feel that it is a problem? If you've seen the Project Eve trailer, did you see this character and do you look at this as something that was disgusting or something that you wouldn't play?
I probably wouldn't play it because it's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, why do you have to look so much at her ass? I don't I mean, okay, I understand you men, you want to look at her ass, I understand. But why and why is she wearing those god awful pants? Oh my goodness. But anyway, and she's so razor thin. I mean, that is not reality. That is not a real woman, and I'm guessing you cannot alter. She is not a created character type thing.
No, that is actual character in the game. Yes,
right. So, I see a real woman, like even Alloy, who you're showing there. That's more realistic than that is. At least there's some shape and some body, and
people was calling Alloy fat. Like, I'm like, what?
I know. I think Alloy looked good, but I just think it promotes unrealistic views of women.
Right, and so there's somebody in the chat that says she's based off of a real life person, though. Now, is her built like that? I mean, because you need to give me her name so I can see for myself. I'm just saying, as a person that's doing gaming research, I must find this out. But I'm just saying.
TikTok near you, I'm sure.
Oh man. So okay, but the real question is though, Mitchie, is it offensive to you? I know that you would look at this.
It's not offensive. It's just unrealistic and depicts women as not how they should be depicted.
Okay. No, I get what you're saying. No, I totally agree. It's just it's great to get a woman's perspective of it, because I mean, if it's a whole panel full of men and they're just having having the same type of thought process, then I don't think that people can actually get a proper.
I'm a pretty open person. I was just like, but why? I don't understand. Why does she look that way?
All right. No, it's cool. I respect that. No doubt. I definitely understand it. I feel it. I mean, it's as a man myself. I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, yo, but then I'm looking like, yo, this is wild. But all right, let's go to the rest of the panel, man. All right, so let's get to you, Real Gamer. What is your thoughts, man? Is it too much? Do you agree with what the guy from Digital Foundry was saying, or do these type of characters bother you, or do you think that it's too much for us to be playing with in these day and age, or what?
It really doesn't bother me. I'm a fan of Bayonetta, and we know how that when that came out, somebody was review bombing it because of that. You still had a really great score. It was a great game, but I don't know. We are in this age of counsel, people getting counseled in the SJW, and it's. I guess you can't make everybody happy because one crowd is satisfied, the other crowd is pissed. So I don't know. We're in a different times. Should they make these characters look different? It's really hard for me to say because, like I said, it never personally bothered me, and maybe I guess back then it used to be mostly boys and young men and men that used to play video games, but since video games is worldwide and it's very popular by everybody, male, females, and maybe a lot of these females that's playing these video games, they probably say, hey man, that's a little bit over sexualized since there's a lot more females playing video games. So maybe you need to look at their aspect, what they're thinking about. But me, like I said, I'm a male. I don't care. It appeals to me. But like I say, everybody's different on this. So if it was up to me, I'll just leave it alone. But if there's enough outcry, if you got to change it, it's not going to bother me. As long as the game is good, I'm good. That's all I got on that.
All right, cool. All right, so what is your thoughts on this, Ashtray? Is it too much? Is it all right? Not a problem? Where are you at?
Well, okay, let's look at the developers. Where are they from?
Japan.
Korea, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, they're from Korea? Okay, I thought it was Japan. Okay.
I think it's Korea. Either way, it's kind of in that realm. Look at Magna. Look at the cartoons and things over there, the way they're drawn. It's a style, it's an art style. And they perceive women in that way. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's kind of part of their culture, and that's how they do things.
Let's take a look at where we doing this. All right, go ahead.
You can hear me all right?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to let people see the character themselves. That's what
right, yeah. So look, it's gonna offend people regardless. It's just the way it works these days. Some people don't care. Some people, could do without it, and some people will get offended. It's just a game. She's not naked. It doesn't. It's not going to affect any of the abilities of the mechanics of the game. In my, I haven't played it, but that's what I'm assuming. We've seen these games in the past. I don't see why things like this or the graphics or the art style should be changed just based on we're in a different world now, and some people get offended. Unfortunately, you're just going to have to deal with the offense and move on. Don't look at it, don't play it. I know that sounds pretty cut and dry, but there's worse things out there than that. I think people focus too much on that sort of side of things, and not, for example, violence. Right now, violence doesn't bother me too much, but no one really calls out violence in games. So why does violence get a pass? With all the blood and guts and things and beheadings and all sorts of stuff that happens in games like that, but this is a problem. There's a lot of people out there that don't like to see violence. Do you hear them complaining every time there's a game? Maybe you do. I don't know. I don't hear it myself personally. So I think, if you're going to let violence, to me, violence is worse than sexualizing a character that doesn't exist. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah,
you understand sort of my point of view. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I got you. Okay, all right. What about you, PK? What's your thoughts about this, man? Is it a little bit too much? Is it could it be toned down a little bit? Is it gross? Is it perfect? Where's your stance? Usually take them a second sometimes.
My bad. Yeah.
No, you good.
Mute. I think people, when I think about stuff like this, I think about what was it like, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, whatever. Will we be having the same conversation? So I think some people are just I think it's okay to acknowledge certain things that may be over the top, but I also think some things are just a work of art and expression. And if you don't like it, don't deal with it. Because everybody, I mean, I find some of the stuff in Japanese anime weird and, you know, over the top. Like, you know, I choose just not to consume that media, right? I think that's just people in general just need to understand that's a lot of times it's an expression, and it may not be for you. But I'm not condoning anything that would hurt or exploit anybody. Just more or less, you know, if it's an expression, it just might not be for you.
Okay.
I mean, we played. I ain't gonna lie to you. I bought DOA because the creator of Ninja Game, and I bought DOA Beach Volleyball. Don't judge me. I did.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh man.
So
Oh
the point
man.
is, it's a marketing thing. It works.
That
It is
man
what it
said he
is.
bought beach volleyball. Hey man, it is what it is, brother. I ain't, you know.
But you know, at the end of the day, you know, I think they might take it. People are kind of sensitive about a little bit too much, right? And maybe they're not sensitive. They just want to have some sort of argument or engagement. Just want to be the on the opposite side of some sort of argument. You know what I mean? You could say, "Hey, man, I know you like this French fry," and they be arguing to death that they don't like the French fry just because they just want to argue.
Right.
You know, they have no real reason. They just want to be on that other end. So they just put energy into stuff that it's just whack, man. At the end of the day, it's an interpretation and it's a form of expression. I mean, Prince is probably the guy who has had more women than most men lifetime.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
They always thought,
that he
but
was.
they didn't. They,
Yeah, I
you
thought
know,
he was too
they
feminine
didn't think
acting.
he was not masculine enough. However, it was far from the truth. Not only was he the guy, but he was also a musical genius, and that's kind of the thing, right? It's a form of expression, and it might not be for you, but it is a thing. So it's like you don't have to consume it, but at least respect it for what it is, unless it's intentional on trying to hurt someone or offend and all. When it's intentional, that's different. But if it's just meant for, and I mean, you guys, I'm sure everyone on this panel know Dave Chappelle. I mean, he says some outlandish stuff, but he says, hey, it's a joke. It is what it is. I mean, if you don't like it, don't watch. Right?
Exactly.
And the thing is, if we don't understand it to that level, I mean, how we're just going to keep going at each other back and forth over nothing. We're all saying the same thing, but not respecting each other's perception. Does that make sense?
Nope, it doesn't.
So
all right.
that's my thought on that.
Okay, all right, excellent. All right, now let's finish it up, Kay. Let us know what you think. Where are you at? Is it too much for you?
No, honestly, I heard no wrong answers from anybody, you know, and both sides are correct in my humble opinion. When I first saw it and I watched it on the show during the broadcast, first thing I thought was, oh, this is going to require conversations later. As soon as I saw them, first thing was, oh, is this another Bayonetta game? No, it's not. Oh yeah, this will require conversations later because this was going to come up. Come on now, you could see that it was just the same as when you saw the nice dark skinned girl on God of War. You were like, yep, there's conversations later.
Conversations,
that's good. You know, yeah.
That's a conversation for next week. We're going to be definitely talking about that.
True.
Next week. Yeah.
Is this a big deal? In the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. I mean, we have so many of media that that focuses in this area. If this is what's going to make you clutch your pearls, then you haven't been paying attention. There's a lot more out there, right? That's one thing. But I do see those who see it and go, yeah, that's a little gratuitous. You know, like Mitchie said, why do we have to have such, you know, why does it have to be like right in your face, right? And why do I hear them and understand that? Because it was a public broadcast for public consumption, right? If you choose to go and seek out said media, then you know what you're in for, and they can give you what they want to give you, right? But this broadcast that was public, and you know, obviously kids and everybody else will probably watch it because hey, PlayStation's having a show. When you have this and you have it as gratuitously shot as they did, I can hear people complain about it. You know, in the grand scheme, does it matter? No, it really doesn't. And for the record, I did watch the Digital Foundry thing. He didn't really call it gross. You know, they just basically they kind of talked around it. They were like, it's an art style from a different era. You know, he did kind of go, well, it's interesting to see how they're making these choices in today's day and age based on what potential responses they could get. So they kind of talked around it, but he never actually blatantly called it one thing or another. He was just pointing out that, hey, this sticks out, basically. You know, does it stick out? I agree, it sticks out. Is
That's
it
the
like,
way
oh
to
my
say it.
God, somebody go write a letter? Come on, you know, calm down, people. It's not that big a deal. But yes, you know, if some people choose to not want to engage with said media, you know, as a public broadcast that brings together all walks of life, maybe you would have toned down the trailer just a little bit so it doesn't offend some, you know. Long story short, though, in the grand scheme, it's not a big deal. You know, this is one of many in said genre.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I totally agree. My stance is pretty much like everybody else's. I mean, I agree with Mitchie to the point of like, yeah, it's in your face. I mean, as a man, you know, you look, the first thing you see is ass in the air, and you're like, whoa, you know, and this, you know, I was like, okay, all right, and then, you know, is it sexualized? Absolutely, because they're setting a tone for a certain fan base. There's no doubt about it. And I remember I showed that the earlier trailer back in 2020 when it was in its alpha stage, and I've seen that, and I'm like, wow, they're gonna have her look like, because they had her in all gray or look like black and white or black and gray, and the suit almost looked like it was, you know, she was almost naked to the point. So
Translucent?
yeah, very translucent, and then they changed it to green, and so I noticed that. But it is what it is, man.
Thank God, no translucent.
but yeah, I mean, listen, the same can be said for male characters with the nice hard abs and the, you know, and all of this and all that, and I see women that post stuff on Twitter, on social media. Oh, you know, that's babe, or that's bae, or yeah, look at him, blah 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 blah. He's this, that, whatever. And it's cool. I get it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like what everybody else, like somebody in the chat said. He says, you know, we bought DOA for less than the honorable reasons. I'm not even going to front to you. We was playing on Fight Night, not last week, but the week before. We were playing Street Fighter 5, and we were getting into, and you know, you get into some of those female character models, and I'm like, damn. Now, yeah, they got really crazy, abnormal hands and feet, but like body wise, and then I'm like, damn, they put some detail in these characters, and so like it is to get the attention of males, but I also say that they do it for females as well, but it's a different type of style that they do it for males, and it almost, I can see how there could be women that looks at it from a standpoint of it being gross, or it's too much. It's over sexualizing, women, and so for any woman out there that's upset about it, that has children, and she doesn't want them to play that type of game, I'm totally for it. There shouldn't be nobody that could condemn her for it. You know, or if she doesn't want to participate in wanting to play that game, speak with your dollars. But the fact of it is that that's going to be an audience for it. And Listen, I understand. Like, you know, I thought it was really crazy when they was calling Alloy overweight and because she had pudgy face, and then I've seen somebody say something even ridiculous like, "Why she don't have makeup?" Like, she's in the damn jungle, busting her ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's trying to fight for survival. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? She might be out there stinking and everything, man. Them dreads might be.
What do they want her to do? Stop and put lipstick on before she
yeah,
goes?
yeah.
Like, come on now.
Yeah, like sometimes
and
you got
no run mascara.
right. Like, come on, man. Y'all got to stop with that. Like, there's some,
That's crazy.
and then there's people that gets crazy and want to call it, you know, it's part of the SJW because they don't have her looking feminine enough. If you in that situation, your ass ain't gonna be looking fine either. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. They want you to put it as a realist situation as possible. With that game, Project Eve, it is what it is. It's an old nostalgic type of hack and slash. And it instead of having, you know, some buff guy cutting the hell out of somebody, it is a woman that's having skimpy clothes and a great body. Yeah, it is what it is, and people can like it or not. So I definitely agree with what everybody had to say. LS fighting robots. Who is she trying to look fine for? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The dudes is over here. Look, this dude ain't trying to mac. This dude trying to kill her ass. Anyway, so. Let's go ahead and sign out of here. Let's get the hell out of here, man. It was a great show, great discussion, man. I do appreciate everybody hopping in and coming in and giving their comments, giving out their piece, man. It's really, really, really great, man. Really do enjoy that for the very first time having so many guests on the podcast at once. So we're gonna start off, man, with Ashtray, man. Ashtray Gaming. Where can they find you at, man? Thank you so much, man. I hope this isn't the last time, man. Where can they find you at, brother?
Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it, man. Anyone can find me on Twitter, Xbox, and PlayStation under Ashtray Gaming, and as well as YouTube. That's it. Straightforward.
Right. Cool.
Easy.
All right. Asante, man, where can they find you at, brother, man? Thank you so much for coming on, man.
So, again, thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciated the conversation. I appreciated the back and forth. Really interesting and intelligent topic. So thank you guys for including me. You can find me on Twitter, TKO Asante, on Twitter, on Xbox, on PlayStation, all same handle. On Thursdays, you can find me with my brother Everborn Saga doing On the Real, and that is the Everborn Saga YouTube channel. And on Saturday, we get back together and we do the Gaming Circle podcast, and that is on my YouTube channel. If you follow us, we'll follow you back. And if you follow us, you'll know when the show goes live. So once again, I really appreciate everybody having a conversation and really enjoying this conversation with us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no doubt. And I can make that Saturday one if you guys looking for somebody.
Hey man,
to come on, man.
I got you for sure. I've been looking for it. Yes, we'll do it for sure.
Oh, okay, excellent. All right, and I gotta put your information in the link in the description. So I will do that after the show. All right, and Mitchie, dies a lot, man. Thank you. Go Rams. But I know you like. Where can they find you at, Mitch?
Oh, you try so hard.
Oh, I do.
On Xbox, Mitchie1971, and on Twitter at Mitchie71. And that's about it.
All right,
interesting conversations and interesting.
Yes, very much. It's always interesting. Thank you very much as usual. And Friendly Blue Shell, thank you so much. He says just supporting the podcast while playing the second half of Tales of Arise after beating Lords. After being Lords of what? You gotta explain. Lords of what? You just said after beating Lords. Now I don't know if that's I just got Tales of Arise today. I'm gonna be playing the hell out of the NBA 2K, but I just picked it up. So I couldn't resist it. These are the two games that I wanted this month really bad. Also I gotta get Melty Blood. Gotta give a shout out to the fighters, man. If you guys are into fighters like I am, Melty Blood will be dropping on the 30th of this month. That is a day one buy for me. That will be the game that we'll be playing on Fight Night. Coming up that Sunday. If not, I might stream it when I pick it up. So yeah, check that out. But let's keep it moving. PK, thank you, brother. Man, coming in here. I know that you've been under the weather. You wasn't feeling good last week, but man, I know you've been doing a lot, but man, really do appreciate it. Where can they find you at, bro?
Definitely follow me on Twitter at PKX Live. You can catch me here on Fridays hanging out with KMEGA on GRG. Tomorrow we're going to do the Dragon's Den. And Thursdays, come by and check us out on 4GQ TV and check it out regardless on Thursday shows because, again, we do all the MCU shows. We have the largest and the only official Marvel Facebook group, over 600,000 members. Come check it out. Come join up, man. We got a lot of good stuff going on. We got a really great relationship with Disney and Marvel, and they like what we're doing. So we're trying to get everybody involved, get everybody in the community, get in touch with. You never know, man. You never know when you might get that lock situation going on, Mega. You never know, man.
Boy.
Just come hang out.
Hashtag save lock. I gotta put it in here. Let me see. Let me put it in here.
It happens, man. Mike Coulter be in those groups, man, watching. So you gotta be in there, man.
All right, man.
But yeah.
All right. Excellent. And much love to your guys' success out there, man. I know you part of the guild out there, man. So big shout out to them. And then last but not least, man, my man Real Gamer. Where can they find you at, brother, man? Thank you for coming on, man.
Yo, appreciate you having me. They can find me at Real Gamer 27 on my Twitter and also my YouTube channel at Real Gamer 27. I just kind of did like a little soft reboot on my channel. Did a few videos. Actually did like 3 videos this week. Surprisingly, that's a record right there.
Oh, look at you! You putting in work.
I'm trying to. It's a slow process right now. I'm in the process of destroying some fanboys on my channel right now. That's what I'm doing right now. But no, I'm also getting my podcast back going probably next week. I usually do mine on Thursday. I know some of y'all got y'all's on Thursday, but that's where I normally do mine. But like I say, whatever y'all decide to follow, just follow. But like I said, y'all can follow me at Weird Gamer 27, and you follow me on my channel, you're gonna see another side of me. Just let you know. So just strap up and be ready.
My man. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Friendly Neighborhood Blue Shell hit it up again and said beating the regional main bosses in the game. That's nuts, brother. You was over there. I've heard nothing but really good things. I love the demo. That was the reason why I was like, I got to get the game.
Listen, I'm 1,000 this game. You know me. I'm already level 99, and I'm beating the crap out of this game. The game is probably my favorite RPG of the year. I told you this before when you was talking about Scarlet Nexus, and I said no. This is Namco. This is Namco Bandai's something to hold people over until their flagship come. This is their flagship.
I don't know, man. I gotta play it. I only played the demo. But man, Scarlet Nexus was superb. It started off really weird and different, but once that story kicked in, I'm like, oh shit, man, it was so good, so goddamn good. I loved it. But okay, all right. I'm gonna take your word for it. So I still think Scarlet Nexus should be nominated. It's still one of my top 3 games. But that's something that I got to talk about next week. I'm gonna keep doing it until we get to talk about it. But I do want to thank everybody. I know that I haven't been doing my content like normal. I've done a couple of videos here and there. Been going to see doctors and stuff behind my injuries and all of that stuff. One positive note. There was a fear that this tumor that I got from my injuries at work, that they thought it could have been cancerous because of the way that it was growing and it moved. But after doing the CT scan, they found out that it was not cancerous, and so they got to get in there. And so hopefully next month I'll get this thing finally cut out. After 2.5 years of dealing with this damn thing, I finally could get it done. Yeah.
Did you see the movie Malignant? Am I saying that right? Malignant.
No, I have not seen that movie.
Yo, all right. Why are you talking about what you just said? You need to go watch that movie. And hope that's not you.
Well, I don't know. Well, listen.
I reviewed that a few days ago. Oh,
really?
My God.
Well, this thing. Let me tell you, this tumor was. It started off back in 2019 when they found it. It was the size of an egg, they said. Now it's bigger than a softball, and the bastard is moved. So so that's where the fear came. But like I said, I've been blessed on that. The crazy situation about the whole thing is that, with the whole pandemic, if people aren't believing in the vaccines and all that, and I'm not going to get into that, real gamer, but but the fact of it is that
really, man, really.
No, I'm just saying. There are people. I'm just telling you what the doctor said. It's like, because we're so jam packed with people who's got the pandemic, we got to delay these surgeries. And so I've been waiting for a year and a half to get this shit taken care of. So it's been frustrating, but I'm saying, God willing, everything will work out, and I got the good news. So thank you guys for the support. I know I haven't really been talking about it. I've just said, I've been hurt or whatever, but it's been a crazy last 2.5 years. There's no doubt about it, but I do appreciate it, and thank you guys so much. All right, guys, I'm about to get out of here. Listen, until we get some damn freedom, we can't do the pants off. Can't just go out and do the pants off dance off, man, unless you got a wife or a husband or a boyfriend or girlfriend, or what I'm saying. But if you got a side piece, I wouldn't trust it. Everybody, have a good one. Everybody, we'll see you next week on the GRG podcast. Peace. Oh, man.
News with